This episode is dedicated to the memory of Ashling Murphy. Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of 2022. I hope you all had a great Christmas and are having a happy new year so far. I had an interesting Christmas. I mentioned last episode that my sister was going to be visiting me for a couple of weeks, which ended up being extended for a few weeks as we both were one of the fallen few who got Omicron. I say fallen few, really, it was the fallen many. This is my third bout of COVID now. Third time's the charm. My first was February 2020. So right before the world went crazy. And then I got it in January 2021. So both times I had it before were before vaccines. There was definitely a huge difference between having it with and without vaccines. Although I was still pretty sick with this bout of it, it wasn't for as long and it was nowhere near as bad as it was. But I hope you guys are all staying safe out there and COVID free. Spotify recently added the ability to rate podcasts, finally. So I would really appreciate a rating if you can. It goes a long way towards helping me and the work that I do to put into raising awareness of domestic abuse. Thank you to anybody who has rated it already. I really appreciate it as always. So I had mentioned in my Instagram the other week that this episode was intended to be the story of Tina Turner's abusive relationship with Ike Turner. I just read her memoir and I'm really excited to record the episode on that. But instead, I will be releasing it on the next episode in the upcoming weeks. I just really wanted this week to speak about what just happened in Ireland on Wednesday, which was the brutal and shocking murder of 23-year-old Ashling Murphy. I just couldn't let the week go by without mentioning it or doing an episode about it. Ashling was a well-known musician and teacher in her area, and she was clearly a very loved character from those who knew her. There's been so much outpourings of love and support for her. Ashling, for those of you who don't know, went for a run in the middle of the day in an area by a canal which is frequented on a daily basis by people running, cycling. She even told someone where she was going to be. All the things we're told as women to do, she did. She was then beaten and strangled to death by a man whom she apparently has no connections to, although this man still has not been found. There was someone brought in for questioning right after, but he was let go because it was not him. Two female joggers heard her screams from nearby, but were too far away to get to her on time. They tried to come to her help, but they were unfortunately too late. And they did see a man running away from the area. Gardaí have appealed for witnesses and asked anyone with information about a Falcon Storm mountain bike with straight handlebars and distinctive yellow-green front forks to come forward. I will leave a link to the picture of this bike in the description of the episode. There's been many vigils throughout the week all over the world. I've seen them all over Ireland, in the UK, even here in New York. You know, the Irish community is such a large community worldwide, and we always come together for our own, which is beautiful to see. But there were two particular incidents which I wanted to speak about, which happened at two separate vigils for Ashling. Last night, an online Zoom vigil was held, which was interrupted by a man appearing to masturbate to the camera. Another vigil for her was interrupted the other day by a group of men accused of weaponizing prayer by drowning out the voices of women there to speak about her by loudly saying the men's rosary. They refused to move elsewhere when asked, and so the vigil unfortunately had to be ended early. Now, these men normally have their group prayer on a completely different street. So they clearly were doing this on purpose, as I doubt they just happened to change to the same street that the vigil was being held on by sheer coincidence. Again, an attempt of men to once again drown out the voices of women. So, although I talk specifically of domestic violence in this podcast, it is clear that it is not just domestically that we women experience this violence. It is in the streets, it's by the canal, it's in the park, it's at work, it's in the store, it's in a car park, it's waiting for a train, as just happened the other day in Times Square station when an Asian woman was pushed onto the track of an oncoming train and died. Just the other day, again, by a complete stranger, a man, of course. It's everywhere. And my question is, who is there to protect us? Apparently, it is only ourselves. We have to be home by dark, not go anywhere alone, carry pepper spray, pocket knives, our keys between our fingers, tuck our hair into our collars, keep our bag straps tucked in tightly, don't wear revealing clothing, look over your shoulder before opening your car, your front door, be fearful of the stranger walking behind us, avoid groups of men gathered on corners. Clearly, none of this even works. Ask yourself how many times you've been catcalled and gazed at, even in your winter coats and scarves, been screamed at out of car windows while walking down the street, been told to smile, love, been grabbed on the train or walking through a crowded bar. Ask yourself when this first started happening to you. I first recall being sexualized as a young girl, as young as 8 years old. I'm sure many of you are not far off of that age. I've been shouted at and intimidated by male school teachers, male work managers, boyfriends, even male friends. They've used their obvious strength to intimidate and frighten and weaken us. But still, you're a woman. What do you expect? Here's some shocking facts about violence against women that I learned. Again, I will leave the link to a more detailed version of this in the description. Some of these I have mentioned in previous episodes, but I'm going to keep mentioning them here. 1 in 3 women have experienced sexual and or physical violence in their lifetime. 38% of female murders are committed by a male partner. 200 million women and girls have experienced genital mutilation. Each year, 15 million girls are married before the age of 18. As many as 1 in 4 women experience physical and or sexual violence during pregnancy. As many as 150 million girls worldwide are raped or subject to sexual violence each year, usually by someone in their own family circle. There are 5,000 so-called honor killings reported every year around the world. Experts estimate that the actual number of honor killings is much higher than this. 30% of females globally have reported that their first sexual experience was forced. Domestic violence is a global problem that affects 35% of women worldwide. Around 137 women are killed by their partner or a family member every day. Women between the ages of 15 and 44 are at a higher risk of rape and domestic violence than cancer, car accidents, malaria, or being injured in war. Violence against women is a men's problem. It is not a women's problem. It is a men's problem. Men clearly don't listen to us, so maybe they'll listen to other men. I'm always thankful for any man who sticks up for a woman, who treats her with love and care and respect. But this needs to be taught to other men to your peers, your co-workers, your sons, your brothers, even your fathers. Explain to the not all men followers why their comments are so harmful. Listen to and believe survivors. Campaign for essential services for survivors. Understand what consent means. Learn the signs of abuse and how you can help. Stand up against rape culture. Fund women's organisations. Hold other men accountable. Don't forget their names. The beautiful women who had their lives taken needlessly. This is something that just breaks my heart, knowing that Ashling's name will be forgotten like all of the others. Slowly, the vigils will stop. There'll be another woman, another senseless act of violence. Why is it that we can remember names of pointless celebrities like the Kardashians every day when we can't recall the names of all these women we kept in our so-called thoughts and prayers on social media for a week? I am heartbroken and angry and sad and hurt and just drained from it all. All I can do is continue to work on this podcast and spread the knowledge that I have learned from personal experience and from research that I do from working with the Survivor Network, and just pass it to you guys and hope that you could spread the word or learn something, and that it makes you think about your own actions and maybe even things that have happened to you. And so on that note, I'm going to leave it there. Short episode this week, but I just really needed to get some of that off of my chest. I hope you liked the episode. I hope you learned something. Once again, I'd appreciate a rating if you have time to give it. And you can reach me, as always, on social media at IPVME or at Mangogs, MANDGOGGS. And so I will see you guys next time.